Okay, so whenever I take classes, though I start or maybe we start late, I always end on time because I've got certain occupations after that or some kind of appointments after that. So I have to attend one online meeting at 4:15. So you have to remind me at 4:10 so that we close for the day today. Okay, going ahead, relevance still continues or is using ethos. Some things will be repeated, which I have told you as the fundamentals of ethos. So maintaining holistic universe with all minds and matters are interconnected at deeper level, love and sacrifice. For this, we will have to see all the videos which have been posted by typically those Babas and Gurus. So they will be always talking about that everybody on the entire earth is interconnected deeply. We may not see that connection, but then there is some kind of a connection which is established. If you believe on this part, it's okay. If you don't believe, it still doesn't okay. But then that is one of the greatest thought which is trying to come out with one more point which will be coming on the last end of this slide. Eliminate motivation. So motivation is always internal. It is found that this verse is repeated. It's found that internally if you are motivated, then it works better for you. Now motivation is again one topic which you will be learning in the subject OB, that is organizational behavior. To define motivation is, in simple terms, is somebody asking you to do something, rather pushing you to do something. And if you are not interested in doing it, then that doesn't act as a motivation. So motivation is a push which will make you to do something, and that push is expected to be the inner push, means you want to be doing that, then it will be more effective. Here I would definitely like to quote you on my own example rather. When I was in 12th standard, way back probably, when your parents also must have been in 12th standard. I am 55 now, so your parents must be at the same age. So that time, the entire social system was such that the couple need to have one, preferably one boy and one girl, though it may not be in their hands. But then most of the families will like that, couple and boy and a girl. So the government also has got a scheme, Hum Do Hamare Do, that kind of scheme. Now the government is coming up with Hum Do and Hamara Ek, triangular family. There used to be a square family, Hum Do Hamare Do. Now it is triangular family, Hum Do and Hamara Ek. So most of the families, if you could come across now, they will have only one kid. Even if it is a girl nowadays, people won't mind. But in earlier days, it was very much necessary to have a boy. So if first girl has taken birth, the second they have to keep on trying till the time they have got a boy. But then that was a societal norm. We always in management talk about the changes which are happening in the society, because our businesses have to be in line with what is the requirement of the society. We have to keep on making modifications in our businesses, making changes in our businesses so that our business suits to the society. So mobile handsets, when I was born, when I was in college, mobile handsets are not there. So all the businesses nowadays are related to the different kind of apps which are being developed on the handsets. So there are thousands and maybe lakhs of apps which are being developed by the people. Why? Because that is required by the society. So I'm talking about that era when mobile handsets were not there, nothing used to happen online and nothing was virtual. Everything was physical, everything was offline. So this was the time when my parents had, instead of one boy, one girl, we are both brothers. So one brother has to become engineer, the another brother has to become medical. If the daughter is there, the daughter should preferably go to medical and the boy should go to an engineering field. So that was a societal status. In that case only the family or that couple is contented, their life is successful now. If son becomes engineer and a daughter becomes medical doctor, then their life is successful. So according to that philosophy, my parents also wanted both their sons, one has to be becoming engineer and the other has to be going into the medical field. My younger brother, who happens to be studied in Mumbai at St. George's Dental College, he is an orthodontist. He was very much interested in doing that. So he is a Mumbai University topper and a gold medalist and whatnot. So obviously the option of engineering came to me, and at our times we were not bold enough, or rather we were not knowing that where should we go after 12th standard. So that question was there again in front of me. But then my parents, or all the parents of my age, they were knowing what to do. That the other boy is decided to go for medical, so I have to go for engineering. So my father came to Pune. There was only one college at the time, that is COEP, Government College of Engineering, Pune. So he took the form physically, filled it up. Then there used to be the rounds of interviews and admissions. So I got an admission at the late in doing engineering. But then I didn't know, nor my father knew, that I was not meant to become an engineer. So let me tell you, in front of camera being recorded, that I took 7 years to do the course of engineering, which otherwise takes 4 years. Why? Because I was not interested, that inner motivation was not there from my side. I never had thought of becoming an engineer. But fortunately, unfortunately, somehow I completed the course and I got a degree of BE Civil from Government College of Engineering, which is one of the best colleges in the world if you go across. The Engineers Day celebrated is on the name of the engineer who was passed on from COEP, from my college. So I am a very proud engineer from COEP. But then what I have done in engineering later? Nothing. I have constructed only one building, 6,000 square feet of area on Bombay-Pune highway. While coming to Pune, that's an old Bombay-Pune highway. That widening work was going on of that road, and that 6,000 square feet building which I constructed, that also went on demolished. And the only proof of me being civil engineer doesn't exist. So in short, I have not done anything in engineering because I was not innerly motivated. I never wanted to become an engineer. As you might have heard in my CV, I wanted always to be a musician. So I am a music expert. I have learned music for 17 long years. So I wanted to be a musician. But my father said that you wanted to be on the side of arts or maybe music or creative field. That's why we put it into engineering. I said, what nonsense. When you knew that I am not interested in engineering, why did you put it there? Then he said, no, in society it is like that, so one boy has to become engineer and the other boy has to become, or a girl has to become a medical doctor. Why this used to happen in the older societies, where you will also probably experience this kind of thing, that your parents would want you to become something which they wanted to become in their life. So my father told me, unfortunately he is not there today, I lost him in 1.5 years before. So he said that I wanted to become an engineer in my life. So that's why our parents always put the thrust of their willingness, their wishes on their words, or on their boys or the girls. So likewise, you might have been having your parents told to you that I wanted to do management, so you do it. There may not be the case. The reason is your generation. When I am saying your generation, all of you must have been born after 95. Not a single person before 95. Okay? So they belong to a generation typically called the Generation Z. You may be knowing it. Generation Z or Generation Z. So this generation is very bold, very open. They have got the proper word is guts to tell to their parents, I don't want to go for engineering. Even if you wish to, I don't want to. Those guts we never had. Rather, I never have even the brain to understand that engineering is after science. I was not knowing. So my father himself came to Pune, he filled up the form, he supported all the documents, he came for the rounds, and then I just started attending the class from day one. I didn't know the process, I didn't know that engineering happens after 12th science. Again, the point which I am trying to tell you by this very simplistic example is that whatever you do in your life, there has to be some force, pushing force for you, and that pushing force is not just like your local station. So now all of you from Pune must be traveling in local. So I have never gone to my uncle who stays in Dombivli. Whenever he has invited me, I tell him very bluntly that I don't come to you. I won't come to your house because you stay in Dombivli. I said, what? He asked me, what is wrong? He said, Dombivli is very difficult to get down from the local. He said, you don't have to do anything, people will push you down. So, you simply have to stand somewhere in the crowd and 80% of the people are getting on a Dombivli. So I said, even getting in is also a problem. Don't worry, if you are running and people find that you want to get in, people will get you in. Still I said, that is not a motivation for me. So that was an external motivation. If somebody pushes you to do something, we want to see the motivation which is from within. So let me tell you very honestly, I have still not gone to my uncle's home. I have visited or I had come to Mumbai for maybe at least 500 times for different reasons in last 25 years. I have never gone to him. Only for the same reason that I am not motivated to get pulled down on only local, and I don't have internal motivation. So internal motivation will work. That is the philosophy and proven by researchers that if you are interested in doing something by heart and by your own heart, then it will be succeeding. So illuminate motivation. So you have to keep on increasing that motivation, which is inner motivation, which could be possible by something called as divine Atman. That means there is some kind of concept. Some of you may agree with it, some of you may not agree with it, but there is some concept called as soul. And soul is Atma in Sanskrit, and that exists in everybody's body, whether you believe it or not. Because some medical science experiments have also done, you might be knowing one of the experiments, that one old man was about to die, and just to prove that this Atma or soul exists, they put that old man in a case of glass, a vacuum glass. There was nothing, no air inside, and that old man there was no possibility of being saved. So he was about to die anyway. So they encased him in a glass which is totally vacuum, no air inside, and when he died, the glass cracked. So it is a philosophy, at least in Hindu mythology or Hindu philosophy, that there is a soul inside which leaves our body when we die, and it enters into some another body. So forget about the soul concept actually, but then soul as such, individuality is something what happens inside you, something what happens within you, which will make you to work in a particular direction, to get certain things satisfied, to get the things what you have achieved. So there has to be some force, and that force is an inner force, which may be in the form of soul or whatever you believe. Even if you don't believe on soul, there is some kind of force, some kind of power within you that will make you to work. And that power should be improvised so that your potentialities could be improvised. And this point we have already covered, so we can skip. So the concept is that in every individual human being, this is this power or Atma, that soul that exists. And we have to worship that soul, or we have to respect that soul. Welfare, this was also repeated. So you are not supposed to forget others while taking care of yourself. Unique work culture. Now there is a connection between karma and dharma. Now we will be discussing later about the religions, or different kind of religions, which I have mentioned earlier. Islam is, then Christians, then Jainism, then there are Sindhi and Punjabi people, they have got again another ism. Then there is Judaism, there is Taoism, which is born in ancient China. So all these isms are talking about different kind of religion or different kind of thought processes. The word has come from this word dharma, means dharma dharayati saha dharma, means the one which accepts, the one which decides certain kind of standards which are to be followed, who are following that particular community, and then we call it as a dharma. So like Islamis, Muslim people, they do have Islam dharma, so they follow Islam religion, so they follow certain things which are defined by Islamism. Hindus follow which have been defined by Hinduism. Christians follow which is decided or designed by Christianity or Christianism. So Dharayati Saha Dharma means whatever you have decided, whatever you have adopted, that you are supposed to follow that principle, philosophies, way of behavior when you are there in the societal places. And this dharma, none of the dharmas will be against doing your duty very skillfully or very meticulously. So you have to have dedication in the work. What I have already discussed is karma. Karma is a task or duty which is given to you. Whatever work is assigned to you, you are supposed to do it with utmost dedication. It means putting your fullest effort, what we say. We always say that in industry you will find this working, give your fullest, give your 100%. What do you mean by that? So whatever your ability or capacity is there, you have to give 100% of it. I'll give a simple example to make you understand. Now we look at this tube light. It is giving light, right? The light is given only in a downward direction. If you could see around, there is a dark here, there is darkness on this side. Can you see? There is a darkness on this side of the tube light. Why? Because there is this vertical stick which is stopping the light to go on the sides. So therefore on the sides of the tube light you will see the darkness. I hope you are understanding and you are looking at this. Only because of that stick. If we remove that stick, then the light will also reach to that area. It means that the tube light has got the capacity to give the light in that side also, but because of something else, some obstruction, the tube light is not giving the fullest of its capacity. In working places, it usually happens that we do have certain capacities, but purposefully we keep those our skills or our abilities, our competencies hidden so that people should not take advantage of it. Supposing, like I'll give you the example from your school days. In your school days, you might have had handwritten magazine. I don't know whether you had in your schools or not, but in our school we used to have handwritten magazines because that time printing facility was too costly. So the people, the students who used to have an excellent handwriting, they used to catch hold of them and then they used to write, what do you call it? Hastalikit. That's in Marathi schools. I don't know what happens in convent and English medium schools. So Hastalikit is written by hand. So we used to write those students who have got excellent handwriting. They used to write that maybe around everybody was given to write say 30 articles by hand. So such 5 students are selected, 150 articles bound together, one magazine. So if I know that my handwriting is good and I am likely to be fetched in that committee to write 30 pages and I am not interested, I will purposefully keep it hidden so that my handwriting is good. Rather, if the test is taken, I will purposefully write in bad handwriting so that I don't get selected. And that happens. That may be a very raw example from school days, but in workplaces it will happen that you are a very excellent event manager. Maybe in your school or colleges you might be an in charge of a class representative or a general secretary or the in charge of committee of say managing induction event. You are very good at that. But the moment in the working place you are likely to know that if the people know my this quality, they will burden me with more additional work, which I don't want. So what I am doing, I know that I have got the capacity, but then I am not using it. That is what this is telling. So when it is a karma by devotion, by your dedication, then only you will get the fruits out of it. Again coming to that karmanyavadhikarya says the same thing. It only says that whatever you are doing, do it with dedication. Otherwise, you will not get the satisfaction out of it. So there is a duty which you are supposed to do, and duty is supposed to be done as a sadhana. Sadhana means some kind of a meditation. Work is worship. We have learned in school days. So work is to be treated as some kind of puja, some kind of worship. Then only you will get the proper returns or outcomes of it. Evenness of mind is a very important point, which all of we should keep on practicing in our industry or corporate days. Usually you will hear this kind of words by your manager, or maybe once you will become manager, you will also be saying these kind of words that मुझे result चाहिए, कैसा करना है आप देखो. Corporate people will accept this. They might have heard this word from their bosses. मुझे रिजल्ट चाहिए बॉस, मुझे कुछ पता नहीं, आपको आता है नहीं आता है, कैसे करना है मालूम नहीं है, मुझे रिजल्ट चाहिए, कैसे करना है दैट इज योर लुकआउट. मुझे कल शाम तक ये रिपोर्ट चाहिए, आज नहीं हुए, मैंने आपको 7 दिन पहले बोला था, नहीं किया आपने, दैट इज योर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. कल शाम तक मुझे किसी भी हालत में चाहिए. सो किसी भी हालत में इज टॉकिंग अबाउट मीन्स प्रोसेस ऑफ डूइंग इट. किसी भी हालत में तुम कैसे भी करो, मुझे कल शाम तक चाहिए. अभी कैसे भी करो, it always has got a negative connotation. Supposing you want to get some things done from some government officer, government clerk usually. So you go to that clerk, he will ask you to come again and again and again. The reason we all know that most of the Indian government, typical clerical people, they will always ask for some kind of money, some kind of bribery amount. Then only they will do your work. So at one point of time, you don't want to give that bribe, but you want to get the work done. So you will tell him कि बॉस कैसे भी करो लेकिन मेरा काम करो. Then he will say ठीक है आप मुझे 1000 रुपये दे दो तो मैं ये काम हो जाएगा, ये साइन हो जाएगा. What you are doing, you are making that person to behave unethical, illegal also at the same time for you getting work done. This particular philosophy tells you that getting the work done is important, but at the same time how you are getting it done, that is also equally important. Means you shouldn't go any unethical ways to get that work completed. The process also matters and that has to be standardized. Therefore, in management we have got a concept SOP. Standard, anyone? Standard operating processes. So standard operating procedure will tell you that if this is the end, I have to follow these steps. Then only we will accept it as the outcome which we expect. Maybe from quality perspective, maybe from documentation perspective. You have to follow the standard operating process. If you join any organization, join any company, there is something called as an induction. You might have heard this word somewhere. You might have had induction when you joined PGDM. I think I heard there was some 21 days of induction. 21 days, where you must have been told in general about etiquette, manners, about management, and different kind of techniques like time management and team building, leadership, all these kind of things must have been taught to you. Why? Because you are going to be the manager someday or the other into the future, and you are supposed to follow all those things. So induction is why you are doing PGDM and what is going to be the outcome for that PGDM. So when you join an organization, every company will also put you for induction. And this induction will be varying from company to company. I mean duration of the induction. Some companies have got induction just in one day. So they will make you join, complete certain formalities. They will just take a round in the campus and they will introduce you some of the important people, and then that's it. The induction is done. Some companies do have 7 days, 1 month of induction as well, because they will be making you the processes, the responsibilities, different departments, what you are supposed to do, how you are connected with other people, what are going to be the benefits which you will be getting and what not. So they will tell you entire thing which might take somewhere around 7 days, 15 days. As I said, that depends upon the company. So induction will make you understand the processes which are equally important for every organization. And all the standard organizations, all the companies, corporates do have got SOPs different for whatever you do. If I want to purchase something for my inventory department, there is an SOP mentioned. Even if it is the society or this Day's Kothari College, they have got a typical or maybe a defined, I won't say typical, maybe a defined system that if I want to purchase, let's say, these kind of projectors. So in every class it is required. So I want to purchase 10 such projectors. So I will not go to the market as we go to the vegetable market, whichever I see I pick up and put it in the bag. And I'll go to the electronic market, whichever I like and put it in the bag. It doesn't happen yet. So there has to be some particular process to be followed. I will catch hold of, say, 3 people, I mean 3 agencies, 3 companies who will have this kind of projector manufacturer, which is this Panasonic. Panasonic is there, then BenQ is there, Sony is there. There are many brands in this. So I will call the marketing representative or the sales regional officer to give us the quotation of such projectors. So I'll compare 3 quotations, then I'll get the best and the lowest quotation and the order will be given to that person. So there is the process which is defined, that matters a lot. And unfortunately this quotation process is very negatively used in most of the manufacturing industries, where there are corrupt people or the people who like these kind of practices. Overall, as an organization, the organization may be very ethical, but you cannot guarantee that a company like Teco, who is employing somewhere say 20,000 people only in Pune, then 40,000 people in Jamshedpur, somewhat like that. So there might be some people who are unethical. So they will do the unethical practice at their own level. So usually people would like to become, or most of the management students would like to specialize in inventory management and purchase. Because purchase is one area. I have given you the example of this very small and one single item. If it comes to manufacturing industry, there are thousands of such items to be purchased, which has got a different categorization of A, B and C that is not a part of this discussion today. But then when it comes to purchase, the process is defined, that standard operating process. Get 3 quotations, list it out, maybe get 10 quotations, ask the people to fill up the tender, then invite the tenders, you list all the tenders, just sort it out from Z to A, from top to bottom, and then who is the lowest one, give him the tender. This is a very standard process. But then what the people who are doing negative practices or unethical practices do? They will tell to the tenderer who is second or third, who happens to be his close friend, or who has told you or told him that okay, you give me this tender and then I'll give you some 2% of my profit. So before the tender is opened, he has got the list ready. He will tell to that tenderer by call that your tender is 3 rupees more than the lowest one. So reduce 3 rupees and send me the reverse quotation. So his tender comes down and then he will give you money, and then this person will also be happy that the other person will mint a lot of money. These are all unethical practices. But then why these are happening? Because people are not taking care about this processes. So all those companies who vouch on the quality of their product or the quality of services, they give lot of importance to the processes which are involved in the manufacturing. I have given you one example, maybe an imaginary example where everybody is there to take the credit, but then the credit goes to the every person who is trying to bring in quality in the process, right? When finance people are making payment, it is a process which is to be followed. There is one company somewhere nearby Belgaum. I don't remember the name of the company. I'll tell you next time because it's there on my head, but I'm not getting it. This company is very famous about not giving any kind of bribery to anybody. In typical commerce term, I'll tell you one sentence. Commerce people will understand. This company has got no debtors and no creditors. Is it possible that, is there any company you have seen when there are no debtors and no creditors? This is one company. I'll tell you the name of the company, the video is also available on YouTube. No debtors and no creditors means this company doesn't have to, No, it's normal company, normal manufacturing company. But then no debtors and no creditors means this company doesn't, this company has no obligation to give somebody some money, is not pending with the company, as well as nobody is asking for the money to the company. So if I am taking a raw material from you, you deliver the material and I will give you the check immediately. If you are my distributor, you take the material, you give me the check of all the products which you are purchasing. So no money to give to you in my balance sheet to be paid later, and no money, receivables, zero payments later. This kind of company exists. I know one example, there might be many, but then no debtors, no creditors, this is one example which I know. What I am trying to tell you is that company has followed all the standard operating processes. They have always given, the company has always given importance to following the processes, not only looking at the end. So this sentence is absolutely wrong. What is written on this board? What they are saying, focus on where you want to go. That means you are talking about ends. And what is written below? Not on what you fear. Where is the fear? Fear is definitely whether you will reach to the goal or not, but the fear is in the process. Whether I know whether I will be able to reach to that level or not, whether I have competencies or I don't have competencies, do I have the resources or not, then those are all problems which are related to the process. So according to me and according to this philosophy, that statement is wrong. You must be thinking about means how you are doing it. That matters more. Therefore, companies are talking about 0% error or error-free manufacturing. That can only be possible when there is a lot of stringent vision, visibility, supervision on the processes. So there are many manufacturing companies who are talking about Kaizen, you must have heard of. These kind of philosophies which are talking about bringing in quality in the processes, not the final product. Because when you have got quality in raw material, quality in the processes, the finished good is going to be of quality. So you don't have to worry about it, provided you follow SOPs. So all the companies across the globe, they have their SOPs very well defined. It may be very smaller thing to be done. For example, say doing away with the waste which is generated. Maybe some corporation van will come and then you have to dump that in the corporation van every day. That may be a process, but then that has to be followed. What is happening to the material which is the corporate people are also not taking, which is not recyclable? What do you do with it? So there is a standard procedure. Just to give you an overall example as such. So whichever company you are working with, even if it is a service industry like chartered accountants are there, that's a service industry. They do have defined SOPs. If you go to hotel industry, hospitality industry, insurance industry, banking industry, there are SOPs. The only thing is whether people follow it or not. So you always try to find out the shortcuts. That reminds me on the process one. It's a faltu joke actually, but then I must share to make you understand the process. One person deposits a check in a bank and he goes to the bank the next day and he asks, वो बैंक का check मैंने कल दिया था, अभी तक cash नहीं हुआ, अभी तक deposit नहीं हुआ है. So the bank officer says, sir, it will take 2-3 days. Why it will take 2-3 days? Stay just on the other side of the road. The bank is here and I stay just in front of your bank. So why should it take 2, 3, 4? Sir, उसका process है. Next day also he goes, no, it is not difficult. Sir, उसका process है. Finally, the person on the other side in the bank, he gets irritated. Then he says that अगर आप suppose accident में कहीं पे मर गए रास्ते में, तो क्या आपको वही से इधर लेके जाते हैं क्या final cremation के लिए? They will bring you home. Then they will make your dead body to take a bath and they will do all those sanskars and then they will burn you. So there is a process standard to be followed. Jokes apart, but then there is a process which is to be followed, which matters a lot when you are thinking about the end. So don't only think about the ends, you have to think about all the possible fears in the road. Though they are saying don't think about the fears, but you have to take care about it. That's what this principle says. Self-development I have talked about, you have to develop yourself from within. Then concentration, control of mind, I can go on speaking because the entire Bhagavad Gita is based on this. Arjuna was not in his senses, he has lost his control of the mind, his mind was wavering, he said, I cannot kill my own people, I don't want to have that kingdom. It has happened, the entire Bhagavad Gita has happened only because Arjuna couldn't control his mind. So everyone has to do that. It may not be possible for all of you, for few of you, and this is not the class to do that. Establish value system. The value system should be such that your value systems are at par with all the religions, all the countries, all the nationalities, all the cultures. And one of the value cultures which is common in all the religious thoughts is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That's a Sanskrit word which says Vasudha Eva Kutumbakam. Means Vasudha means this entire earth, Prithvi. Eva means Vasudha is, or Vasudha should be treated as Kutumba means family. So the entire earth is a family. That feeling everyone should have to have, which I question whether it is possible. That you have to consider everybody around you as your brother or sister, as your family member in a way. Sparing one person for becoming your life partner. Rest all are your brothers and sisters. Okay. So that philosophy we will have to adopt, and it is expected to be adopted. There is one education institution in Pune. They have got this caption or tagline: Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is one of the biggest universities in Pune, who is admitting many students from international or many other countries. So they have got more than I guess 30,000 plus students coming from out of India. Why? Because they started on this basic philosophy that we want to bring the entire world together, but it's the people who are in that society, they don't want it. You don't want your neighbor to be a part of your kutumba, part of your family. So we always try to आपका family हमारा family अलग, आपके thoughts हमारे thoughts अलग, आपका culture हमारा culture अलग. So we are trying to make the distinction between the families rather than making all families together, which is practically impossible. But then somewhere you try to have that feeling in your mind that I want to be the family of this entire earth, or I am the part of this earth as a family. Very difficult to practice, but then that's a philosophy which we should be following. Role of ethos, of course, why we need to learn this very boring subject as such. So we need to understand what all it has been said by Gita, Upanishad, Bible, Quran, and what are the positivities those scriptures have given to the mankind that we have to bring in into the management field. Indian ethos of the management can help develop an effective holistic management pattern which will assure all-round growth in productivity, marketing, profitability. You will come across many books available on internet. Few of the books I'll be recommending for your library, which are there in the syllabus. And you can read those books. Most of the books are talking about the same. How Mahabharata, Ramayana, then Arthashastra, then Bible, Quran are talking about human nature, humankind, humility, then ability of the people to understand, get acquainted with, get related with, and then lot of spiritual concepts. Those we have to connect it with the management. As it was told to you, and I had one session in this college also for I guess second year students on my book Management in Bhagavad Gita. So I could find that 700 verses are there in Bhagavad Gita. In each verse I could connect some of the other principles which are being taught to the entire world syllabus. I had gone through Cambridge University syllabus, I had gone through Stanford University syllabus, which are supposed to be standard universities across the globe. So they also have got all the concepts which are being taught to their MBA or PGDM, whatever course program they are offering. The syllabus which is taught to them, all the concepts are found in Bhagavad Gita. It was by God's grace I happen to know that, even starting from a very fundamental Maslow's need hierarchy, then commerce people have learned planning, organizing, directing, staffing, right from there to analytics, which is the most recent concept in management education in India. That was also found in Bhagavad Gita. So I wrote that book verse by verse, so I could come across around 500 management concepts which are already present in Bhagavad Gita. What is that? That is nothing but developing holistic management pattern, which is already explained to you by this Puranas and Gita, Upanishads, Arthashastra. Arthashastra is a typical Indian origin literature which is telling you about economics and finance. That was developed in 200 BC, long back. And the entire world is following. When we talk about economy, it is based on that Arthashastra which is written in India. Mahabharata written in India, Ramayana written in India, Bhagavad Gita written in India, Veda, Purana written in India, Arthashastra written in India. Then your yoga, medical science, Ayurveda specifically, that has taken birth in India. That may be one of the reasons why our earlier APJ Abdul Kalam president, he was saying that 2020, though it couldn't happen because of Corona probably, so we have to give ourselves 2 more years to become world's biggest power, because all the basic things are being found in our country, in India. So point in this slide is that we have to think the role of these things to make us understand role of these things into Indian management or wherever you will be working, or productivity, marketing, profitability. Okay, what is exactly the meaning? Indian ethos demands the subjective management system which we need to understand the following. So what all we need to understand from all these scriptures? I'll be going one by one to these scriptures, so we'll be more in detail at that time. I'm not sure how will I be able to finish all. Let's see. Management attitude you have to have. So profit is earned through service and satisfaction of all the stakeholders. No scriptures or no philosophy or no management subject will teach you that you don't have profits, except those exceptionally companies who are generated for the purpose of no profit, no loss basis. So every business, as I mentioned earlier today itself, that every business is to be done for the purpose of making profits. So that management attitude has to be there. So if you want to start with a business, you need to have a business acumen, as they say in standard English. You need to have that business acumen. So all of you are doing PGDM. What does it mean? Postgraduate diploma in management. Does it say that postgraduate diploma in management of other companies? Can't you have your own company and manage it? But not all of you can have. Because there is something which is called as a business acumen. That means that business capabilities and competencies which none of you have, which few of you have. All of you may not have. So after doing PGDM, ideally you should be starting with your own business. Our entire government is talking about what they say, Make in India movement. What they are talking about, starting the businesses by every individual in India rather than importing from China. So we should have the businesses, businessmen, entrepreneurs generated in our country. But then not everyone, specifically the students who have taken education in management, out of that only 2 or 3% have got potential or competences to start with their own business. Because the moment it comes to start with your own business, the first thing comes to your mind is risk. चलेगा नहीं चलेगा, कितने दिन तक चलेगा पता नहीं, कभी भी डूब सकता है. So even in India, even we still have got that philosophy fixed in our mind that typically when a girl is to be married to some boy, the family of the girl will see whether the boy is settled or not. And what is the definition of settlement? Very simple. He must have to have some, preferably government job. मतलब एक बार गवर्नमेंट चिपक गया तो that is going to be the best marriage proposal for a girl's family. So preferably गवर्नमेंट जॉब होना चाहिए. If नहीं है तो IT में तो होना चाहिए, कुछ अच्छे कंपनी में होना चाहिए. You tell boy's family, if they tell to the girl's family, he has started with a business just now. नहीं, business family में नहीं देना, पता नहीं उसका business कब भी डूब सकता है. मेरे लड़की के हाल हो जाएंगे, उसको खाने के नहीं मिलेगा. Why? Because we still have that mentality that we want to work for somebody else. All the management courses, no management courses telling that you should develop Master of Business Administration. कहीं भी लिखा है Master of Business Administration of some another business. When you work from somebody, you are actually developing their business. So philosophy of management education says that all of you should have your own business. But then not all of us have got acumen of starting business. Even take my example. I am teaching to management college for last 25 years. Have I done any business? Yes. I have done 2-3 which failed. One is running successfully. But at least I still tried to do that. So why can't you do? Maybe you can get settled somewhere. And then you start simultaneously doing it, and then you think that okay, now it is the time that I should stop working for somebody, stop making money for somebody else, and I will start making money for myself. That is the idealistic thing should happen to any PGDM or MD student. So I hope after 5 years of working, or 10 years, let's say, I'll give you 10 years, all of you should have your own business. But it is an acumen which is not easily possible. So that management attitude has to be there. And management attitude is nothing but profit making. And profit making requires a lot of marketing, which is not every individual's possibility or every individual's ability. To market yourself is very difficult. And all the business's success, to my opinion, is by effective marketing. So a lot of importance is given to digital marketing nowadays, online marketing, AI, ML, all those things are ultimately ending to get your business. To somebody I asked that how do you got into that XYZ college? She said, Shiksha.com, or which are all others, collegedunia.com. So what they are doing, they are approaching the colleges, they are advertising the colleges on their website. Most number of views, that is the best college. Not always necessary. Because we have to pay them to tell to all the MBA aspirant students that we are the best. Whether we are not, that is something different. Point is, you need to market yourself, which is the most difficult thing to do today. On the other side, you should have to have some such thing where you don't have to market it. The people will come to you and they will purchase it. Handsets, though you might have been seeing the advertisements of Samsung or iPhone or other mobile handsets, but then when handsets came, do you have to see an advertisement and purchase handset? No. Because it has become nowadays your need as we require roti, kapda and makan. And third is internet. And fourth is internet rather. So you don't get to see an advertisement of a handset and then you remember, अरे हाँ इसको लेना था मैं भूल गया. ऐसे नहीं होता. So the most difficult part is marketing. If you are good at doing it, then you can do any business. If you are not good at doing it, then you don't have management attitude, because marketing is mainly for fetching the profit. The more I market, the more better strategies I have got, the more I have got an excellent sales team who will push the product. Of course, a quality product, all processes followed, assuming that it's the best product in the industry. Then you will definitely get good profit. Humanizing of organization, that is interpersonal relations, man, machine, material, mental, spiritual growth. So here we are talking about HR. I have talked about marketing, which is required by all the companies. Equally required is human beings, where we are talking about humanizing the organizations. Though a lot of automation is happening in the industries, then though a lot of robotics is coming up, IT companies developing different kind of software, but still, if you go to any industry, what the industries will work on is only on the human beings. So if you have got money, you can purchase or construct a building, you can have money, you can purchase material, you can start with the production, but then who's going to work there? The human beings. If you could see, just I mentioned earlier, the highest recruitment across the world is in IT companies. What is IT? Information technology, which is technology. So why should they require human beings? So if I have got robotics in my company, I have to have some designer or some scientist to design that robot. Till now there is no technology which has come up wherein a robot will design another robot. I think that was the Robo movie. That's in movie. In reality, I have not seen any robot designing another robot. I have heard that in Japan it has come up. But it will take another probably 1,000 years where the robots will replace all the human beings. Summarily, what I am trying to tell you is that no industry will work without human beings. So you will have to have human beings there operating different machines, designing different systems, different software, different robots, different automation systems. Human beings are required. You cannot replace them. But and when you have got humans working, you have to give a lot of importance to human beings. In the imaginary story which I told you, the last importance is told by human resource. They said if our people don't work, nothing can be happening. That's the reality as on today. If people decided not to work, the company will be standstill. So human beings and of course their interpersonal relationships, lot of work is going on in all the top companies about making the people working in the industry as happy as possible. And that's why I have told you in example of IT companies, they will give you highest possible CTCs in the type of the industries which the manufacturing company will give you. They will give you facilities or competition facilities to and fro. They will give you free food, how much amount of time you want to eat, you can do it free of cost. Then they will give you Saturday, Sunday off. They will give you purse. They will give you say 150 days of leave. Then they will give you leave travel assistance. Means you have to go along with your family on some family excursion, maybe out of country also. The company will pay the entire expenses, right from a Ola car book from your place to airport. Everything will be paid by the company. Why they are doing it? Because they want to retain the employee. They don't want the person to leave. But unfortunately, still there is lot of turnover. There is 35% turnover in the IT industry, which is supposed to be the biggest IT industry. Why? Because in spite of giving all the things, all the possible facilities, people are not sticking to the organization. Somewhere they are missing this humanization of the organization. It's only the money which will not work. That is the meaning of this. So relationship matters, inner satisfaction matters, inner motivation matters. So all those factors which are related to you, if you individually are not satisfied with the facilities, you are likely to leave. Whatever facilities, maybe your relationship with your superiors, relationship with your colleagues, relationship with your subordinates, relationship with everybody around you, if that is not healthy, then you are likely to leave. And that will happen, proven by spiritual science, that will happen only because of it. It becomes your responsibility to maintain relationships with others, irrespective of what kind of person that may be. So humanizing of the organization is very much important. We speak about interpersonal relationship. Interiorizing management and self-management of consciousness, body, mind, intellect, which is again speaking the point which I already raised, that you want to get all those things done from within. So you have to develop yourself, you have to have that sense that I need to belong to this organization. There is a concept called as ownership. Ownership concept says that this institute belongs to me. Then only while walking out of this classroom, you will switch off the tubelights and fans. Don't you do it at home? If you don't do it, your mother will be behind you. When you are not using that tubelight, when you are not using that table lamp, you are just showing to me that you are studying. You are not using it, switch it off. So we do it at home because that home belongs to us. So if you think that this institute belongs to me, I own this institute, then you will have that feeling in the brain that while going I should switch this off because this is my light bill which I am going to pay. Isn't it? So that is the concept of belongingness. Till the time you don't have this belongingness feeling with you, with the organization, you are likely to keep on changing the jobs. So ultimately what is point number 3, interiorizing management says that it is you who is supposed to think about all this spirituality, relationship, internalizing, maintaining relationship, getting the inner satisfaction, then whatever you want to get the extreme, what we call it as a self-actualization state, reaching to the state of self-actualization, that all remains and stays inside you. Whatever facility you give to the people, give to you by the people around, by the company, that is not going to work unless and until you are satisfied from it. So interiorizing is getting down those things inside. Then self-introspection is an extended part. How can you or how do you come to know whether I am innerly satisfied or not? So you have to keep on doing self-introspection. Introspection means looking within you. Thinking. Self-introduction means thinking about yourself. There is a very beautiful saying in English that says, you must know what you know. Very simple to understand. You must know what you know. You must be knowing what you're good at. Second sentence is more important. You must know what you don't know. You must know what you know is simple. आपको क्या आना है, आपका क्या स्पेशलाइजेशन है, फाइनेंस है, फाइनेंस में सब कुछ आता है, आईटी में आता है कि नहीं आता है. So you must know what you do not know. That is more important, because then only you can develop. Because by now or by that time you have understood that this is the thing which I do not know. Even I am reaching to the level of GM. I don't know this, so I need to get to know about it. Then only you can develop. Similarly, as far as your individuality is concerned, self-introspection is concerned, you do the self-study, self-analysis. How am I as a human being? Am I considerate? Do I maintain the relationship with the people? Do I try to understand? Where is it? Do I try to understand the thoughts, feelings, emotions of other people? A lot of importance is given to this. I have mentioned that word about EQ, emotional quotient. Do you understand the emotions of others? For that you don't need to be an HR manager only. Rather, all the managers must understand the human being, because just now I said that at the end of the day you are handling human being, not the machines. Machines will run automatically. The worker who is coming to the duty, he will just switch on the machine and then he will stand still for 2 hours. What does he do in those 2 hours? That becomes your responsibility. How does he, whether he is trying to create a havoc and a nuisance in the organization, or whether he is trying to maintain the proper relationships. So ultimately, it is your responsibility to try and understand feelings, emotions, thoughts of other people. Your own thought, you are very clear, and you are very much always on the high on the skies that I know everything. And the people who think that I know everything can never develop in their life. You must know what you do not know, where you are weak at, where you need to improvise yourself, which are the skills which you still don't have, which are the abilities which you still want to develop, which are the areas which you still want to study and progress. If you do not know, then you cannot develop yourself. This self-introspection is talking more going beyond your paper qualification. You will be getting PGDM, you will do some simultaneously additional courses like finance people might do some mutual fund course, then some stock market course, marketing people might study more in detail digital marketing, HR will do HR analytics, like operating supply chain will learn project management. So you can get on development of different certification and diploma along with this PGDM. But then that is on the practical side, or maybe at the level of your ability to develop yourself from your for your knowledge point of view, for getting certification, etc. But then as a human being, how you have developed, that every specialty will have to do it. Typically the manufacturing, purchase, finance, these are the people who are said to be, I am not making a very concrete statement, but said to be comparatively very dry people. They don't try to understand the emotions of others. Finance people, they are always behind numbers, figures, profit, itna expense hai, cost cutting. They don't think about, mujhe cost cutting chahiye, I don't care what you do. So it means they are not taking the feelings of the people into consideration. I want that thing to be done. That doesn't actually work. So you have to think about, as an individual manager, irrespective of which department you are working about, how am I behaving with the people around me? When I say people around me, from all the directions, from top, from bottom, from sides, from diagonal relationship with some other department person, from top authorities talking to you diagonally from some other department. Your relationship with every corner in that organization matters, and relationship doesn't mean that you are sending good morning and good night messages to everybody on WhatsApp. That actually irritates. That doesn't develop relationships. So that is not the way what I mean by developing relationships, but then that has to be thought over. How you are maintaining the sensations of the people, how you are maintaining feelings, understanding feelings and emotions. Supposing this is a very common thing which happens in HR. Like there most of the organizations, they do have something called as counseling session or mentoring sessions, or there's a mentor given to you. Probably your institution might have done it, or maybe they'll do it later. So there is somebody called as a mentor, or there is somebody called as a counselor. You might have heard about marriage counselor at least. Marriage counselor you will need, and I wish that you shouldn't need. I wish that you shouldn't need. But again, the statistical fact says that your generation people, slightly generation before, millennial generation, they have got 67% divorces. And the moment divorce case is filed, the court will appoint you a marriage counselor. So marriage counselor will call a husband separately and a wife separately. They will ask, what is the problem? Why do you want to leave him? Why do you want to leave her? So they will tell their own stories, which may be believed by the counselor. But the counselor's job is to make them come together again. According to Indian philosophy, wife and husband, once they get tied up to each other, वो बोलते हैं कुछ सात जन्म वो एक वीडियो आया था just a few days before. The husband and wife are driving and they are fighting like cats and dogs in the car. And then the car stops at a signal. There is a beggar outside. साहब कुछ दे दो खाने के लिए. आपका जोड़ा सातों जन्म ऐसे रहेगा. So he is about to take the money, but then the moment he says आपका जोड़ा सातों जन्म ऐसे रहेगा, he puts the money back. The beggar gets surprised. The signal is still on. Then the beggar again tak. Then he takes. अब क्या है? नहीं sir, let this be your 7th birth. So jokes apart, but then statistics proves 67% divorces of your generation and the earlier generation. Why this happens? Because of only this one. You do not try to understand the feelings, emotions of each other. Go to the earlier generation, 2 generations before. एक दूसरे के सर फोड़ेंगे लेकिन साथ में नहीं, divorce नहीं. Very less, 2 to 3% divorces were there in the bloom. What is that generation called as? Bloomers generation, baby bloomer generation. 2 to 3%. Now it has come down to 67%. I don't know what will happen with your next generation, Alpha generation, which is come up after 2010. So they are still 12 years of age today. Okay. So you have to understand the feelings of each other at family level, at industry level, at workplace. It is more required because if you calculate the number of hours which you work when you go to the office, let's say 9 to 6 is your working hours. You start from your home, at least in Mumbai, at least 1.5 hours to 2 hours before the working hours. You start at 7:30, catch a train, go to the workplace 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock. You will never come out of the building at 6 o'clock sharp. You stay there till 7 o'clock. You reach home at 9:30. You go to the bed, let's say at 11. How many? 1.5 hours in the evening and maybe 1.5 hours in the morning. You are with your family members. 3 hours only with your family members. 2 or with your colleagues, with your bosses, with your subordinates. You are there for 9 or 10 hours. So which should be taken care more? Obviously the workplaces. So if you are happy at the workplace, then you are likely to be happy in the personal life. And understand you are being happy in the workplace is trying to understand emotion, feelings, sensations of the people around specifically in the workplaces. That's again a point of discussion which will be, hopefully it is going to be there later. So we should take care more about at the workplaces. If you are satisfied and content in workplaces, the divorces will be less. Take it from me. Brain stealing, meditative silence through silent mind. Here they are directly going spiritual. You have to do the meditation. Again, as I mentioned earlier, meditation is not at all spiritual. Meditation is simply concentrating the mind, removing all the possible thoughts which are coming from the mind. So which will make you to focus on a particular task which you are doing. Stepping back for a while to control and master the situation. At times it is okay even if you are a boss and even if you may be a very superior person in the organization. If your subordinate is saying something which really has got some sense, you have to take a step back. Yes, okay, whatever you are saying is accepted, it was my mistake. Very few people do that. तुम मुझे क्या सिखाओगे? मैं पिछले 5 साल से 10 साल से यहाँ पे मैनेजर, तुम तो एक छोटे हो. When these words are there, what he is doing, he is not ready to step back. He has understood that he is correct, but then his ego will not make him accept that. Self-dynamical meditation, this is totally talking about meditation. Role of intuition. Some people do have what intuition, direct knowledge of certainty without reasoning or interfering. So if I tell you that tomorrow is going to be raining very heavily, and this meteorological department will tell me or tell on the radios and television, कल पूरा dry रहेगा, बिल्कुल बारिश नहीं आएगा. But I am telling you that tomorrow is going to be raining heavily. Why I am telling you? Because it's my intuition, which doesn't require any reasoning. Intuition is something which comes to my mind, and it has been found that there are you may be knowing some people around there, their intuition is very strong, and then they will tell, and that happens. There is no particular reason. But then that requires a lot of inner self developed, and then it is proven that the people who have got very strong intuition, it actually happens in their life. So you may have some such people, we are expected to reach to that level, but not 90, I would say 99% people won't be able to reach. This I'll just read, or you may read this later, the ancient guiding principle, good pathway for all those are discussed directly in that. So let's keep this. Okay, law of karma, I have mentioned earlier, as you sow, so shall you reap. What is the time? 2:30. Okay, take a break of 5 minutes.